Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and as always on Monday, I am joined by John Fitch, MMA legend and Smash aficionado. How's that Smash going?
Smashingly, I must say.
Well, that is
Of
good to hear,
course,
John.
it's going well.
There is a lot to go over actually this week. Where last week there weren't fight cards coming up, we got a couple really cool fight cards coming up. There's a UFC card. There's the Ruiz Joshua rematch,
That's
which
a rematch. It's going to be good.
well, I'm looking forward to that one especially. But the big hubbub and everything in my DMs, John, is all about Conor motherfucking McGregor and Cowboy Cerrone. So I want to break that down.
Yep.
But first, I want people to know that they can find everything possibly John Fitch right here at johnfitch.net. It is the home where you can
That is
find.
correct.
That's right. The Gram, the book, the Twitter, but most importantly, the YouTube channel, where you should go to right now and hit that subscribe button. In fact, I'm going to show you how to do it. You just go right here.
Match the bell.
You hit that right there. It comes up. Look at that. I'm already subscribed. Official John Fitch is the page. And you're broadcasting more and more. I see you are gaining subscribers. You're doing very cool interviews. Tell people about John Fitch Knows Nothing.
Yeah, I don't know anything. So I have an interactive live stream format for my podcast. A lot of people come on and throw in their 2 cents, and I kind of go back and forth with them. I'll come up with different topics to talk about. And then I've started to have different people on that are, kind of experts in their fields. Tomorrow, I believe I have an old training partner who now does some kind of like family counseling, Christian style family counseling. I'll be interested in getting to know more about what he's doing these days. I think he's in Texas now. But and then I may be talking to a like a psychic soon. Yeah.
A psychic, eh?
I might get a reading done, and then we'll talk a little bit about magic, I guess.
Oh, dude. I mean,
It's going to be interesting.
before we get into that, because I want to get into that, I guess we're going to have to wait for the McGregor things. By the way, everybody, thumbs this video up and share it. We are live at 6 p.m. Eastern every single Monday, but if you miss us or you want to find the audio broadcast, thegruelingtruth.com. It holds our audio podcast. It also has your audio podcast. So go check them out as well. All right, magic. Let's talk about magic.
Magic.
I am, you know what? I'm a huge fan of certain types of quote unquote magic, especially, we've talked about neuro-linguistic programming before, but NLP and Richard Bandler and this kind of idea often comes out of an idea of mind control. So Darren Brown, who's a big performer in the UK, he does a lot of that type of thing. And he's done some interesting stuff. How much is staged, how much is not, you'll never know. But the thing is, first of all, the intelligence agencies have actually studied this at length, John. The CIA has some really interesting declassified documents on it. But I just watched this documentary specifically on the subject of remote viewing. And I forget what the guy's, I think his name was Brian Price. He was supposedly the most psychic guy in the world, and they were doing all these things. And I would just say this, a lot of it is skeptical to me because they went to Uri Geller's house. You know who Uri Geller is?
I know the name.
So
Why do I know the name?
For those that don't remember
author?
Uri Geller, he was bigger in the 70s and 80s, but he was the spoon-bending mentalist.
Yes.
Yeah, he's very flamboyant. He beat on Johnny Carson. And I can't remember.
I watched a lot of Carson when I was young.
Yeah, me too. I mean, what else was there, right? Late night,
Yeah.
it was Carson. Yeah. So he was huge, but turns out, John, he's also a Mossad agent. So he was working for the Mossad. He was doing other intelligence work for other agencies. In fact, he worked with the CIA until they found out he was also working for the Mossad. There's also, it kills me because this guy used to debunk everything about my films, and he had this James Randi. So James Randi was this professional
I've heard of
debunker.
Yeah, he's a professional debunker.
Yes. So James Randi challenged Uri Geller back in the day to do some of his things under control.
That's why I know this guy. I watched a documentary of
Of
the other guy,
Randy?
the great Randy, right?
Yes, the great Randy. I'm so glad you watched that, dude, because there's a
Yes.
lot of good stuff in there. But
Yeah, it was
even
really great, fascinating.
yeah, but even if you look at it, the great Randy, a lot of his illusion stems about around the time, I think around the fact that he was a closeted homosexual for most of his life. It wasn't until he
Hmm.
was an old man he kind of came out with everything he
Hmm.
was. So
Yeah.
even in that, he was kind of deceptive, but he would expose all these deceptive people. And Uri Geller was another one. He basically disproved a lot of the nonsense on psychically
Yeah.
controlling the spoon. Whenever it was a controlled environment, he was taking them down. Now,
Yeah, easily.
yeah,
That was what's his name? Houdini was renowned for that also.
hmm
He used to challenge and go after the psychics, and like that was his thing. He became obsessive about it.
well, because it's grifting in most cases. In fact, Darren
Yeah.
Brown uses those type of grifting and gypsy or esoteric knowledge to make you think he's psychic, and then selectively show you certain things. But in a lot
Yeah.
of ways, set you up. So that should be interesting. I'm glad you're having everybody on. That's pretty exciting stuff, John. I'll be tuning in, obviously.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move into.
I wish I would have read that book before the because you told me about a couple books about that guy, the Brown guy, and I got a couple books that I haven't gotten to him yet.
Are you talking about Bandler, Richard Bandler?
No, the psychic guy you're just talking about.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, Geller? Not Geller. You're talking about the man.
Brown, was it Brown or
I'm not sure. I don't think it's Brown. I'm not sure which guy
No.
you're talking about. Darren Brown. Yes. Oh, Darren
Darren
Brown.
Brown.
Yeah. Oh, he's
Yeah.
not psychic. That's why. But Darren Brown.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I should send you a link because I think it's actually on his official YouTube page where he basically weeds out through I don't know a few hundred people to mind control somebody into believing they're going to kill someone and doing it. Doing it. Now he even discussed this on Rogan's podcast after the fact. I was always really curious of it, and he uses the original Manchurian Candidate movie with Frank Sinatra as his model for how to do it. And then I'm not sure if you're familiar with the RFK assassination and the woman in the polka dot dress. So Sirhan obviously has always claimed that he wasn't the killer. He was under mind control and all these different things, and he's actually talked with RFK Jr. So in videos, you can see it before this. There's a woman who's in a polka dot dress at the campaign event, and then she's gone afterwards. And a lot of people mentioned her, and supposedly she was the trigger. So what Darren Brown does is he uses a woman in a polka dot dress, otherwise unbeknownst to this person, he's trained to like trigger and just pull a gun out and shoot somebody, right? To a woman in a polka dot dress. It's a wild hour. I wonder how much of it's staged, but it's still extremely interesting. The whole topic of mind control is interesting. And speaking of mind control, I would say the masses are under some form of mind control in wanting to see this Conor McGregor Donald Cerrone fight that gets announced November 29th. And why am I mentioning the date here, John? Because I sleuth things. I check things out.
seemed like a strange date to make an announcement that big.
And not only that, it wasn't really even an announcement. You notice they haven't had a press conference. You notice nothing's been signed.
Yeah.
No one's given an interview. Dana White hasn't given an
It was
interview.
just
Conor-
rumor pushed. Like
They
was
pushed
there
it
any,
through
there's no
Akamoto.
actual account from anybody.
So Akamoto of ESPN gets it confirmed by Dana White that January 18th is going to be this thing. This all happens on November 29th. Now, why did I go to my history on Google? Well, if you notice right here, we do things live. Wellston Journal's in there. Well, why is that in there? If I copy the link address, and let's see, let's just go to the end. And I paste it in, you'll notice it says, police examine car and clothes belonging to Irish sports star after alleged sexual assault. Now, I was waiting to do a video on this. I was actually waiting until today. I was figured, hey, this is a good topic. And watch what happens when I hit the link. Oh, it's gone. Oh, it's the only media that was reporting on the fact that on the same day that they announced this fight through a leak, In the second sexual assault case, they had finally started to do the forensics on the car where she was assaulted, and then
So they
on the
disappeared the
clothes.
link?
What's that?
What, the links disappeared?
Oh, it's gone. See, and John, it was the only one that reported on it. If you look right here, this is Irish Sports Star in quotes by date in the news section. And again, it was on the 29th. You notice it was in my history. You know, I don't make things up. I know people think I'm a conspiracy guy, but if you go in 3 weeks ago, the DNA test is the only other news, and then you get to the woman who in Parliament basically pointed out McGregor strutting around with impunity, raping women. Just saying, it's in the Parliament of Ireland. And for those that do not know, it's not like you'll be able to find it because it's a shadow banned thread, but there is a plethora of evidence. In fact, from a senior police source, let me just read you this quote, folks. At the end of the day, there is no doubt that this young lady suffered a horrendous ordeal. The examinations and all of the evidence shows she was raped and very badly assaulted in that penthouse suite. And remember, McGregor, by his own admission, said he had consensual sex with this woman. Consensual sex with a woman who was bloody, choked, beaten, apparently had a tampon surgically removed from her cervix. Oh, yeah. And anally raped as well. He's a real lovely guy. He should make millions in his next fight. It makes me sad. And I'm going to say this. I hope that you guys out there, and that's the one that's almost a year old, John. December 10th will be the anniversary of that. We might do a whole special next week on the 1 year anniversary of Conor McGregor brutally raping a woman. Maybe, who knows? But I'd say this, guys. There's no press conference for a reason. I don't think these charges have gone away. And if you've noticed, I mean, where is it? The guy, I don't even know why he's in the country, John. He literally has how many more convictions? Oh, that's right. Here it is. He has 18 convictions prior, hold on, it's a little bit blocked here.
Prior to the whole Dolly gate?
No. Prior to punching the old man. That was conviction number 19. These are the convictions
19.
Only in Ireland. I don't think Dollygate has anything to do with these other 18 convictions. Easily the guy has got probably 20 plus convictions worldwide. How is he getting a visa to fight?
Oh, man.
They want it at the T-Mobile Center, bro. I mean, what are your thoughts on this? Because you got to be conflicted like I am. I like Cowboy, right? He's been in the game how many times? How many times has he put his body on the line for the company? And this is his $500,000 to $5 million payday, right? I don't want to take that away from the guy. But I don't want to see Conor get any kind of payday, especially when, I mean, these kind of allegations, John, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, it's not man, it's like they're bumping that fight up to get it over with as soon as possible.
Here's my conspiracy theory. You ready?
What's that?
They announce it. They might even do one press conference. Okay? They gear it up. They stack up the undercard. Mm-hmm. Maybe even put some kind of a title fight as the undercard. Or they put that as the main event and Conor's the undercard and he agrees to it this time. You know what I mean? Because he hasn't fought in so long. And then at the very last minute, they pull the rug from under us and the fight never actually happens. Like, it doesn't happen within like 3 to 4 days of the fight and some kind of substitute event or circus show gets laid in there. But basically, it's more of a delay in time on, you know, the idea that the first woman hasn't taken any money. We already know by the media that she didn't take the first $1 million+ offer. God knows what they offered her, but hey, that's the other thing. At what day is not taking the payday a good idea for her?
Yeah, I mean, especially if they come at her with more money than the £1 million or whatever.
Like at $5 million, at 20,
you know,
at $20 million,
$20 million.
I'm just saying, I'm not advocating violence by any means, but say you took a $5 or $20 million payday, you have the money to move out of the country, kind of get away from whatever, and hire a hitman to kill the person that raped you. I'm just saying. If it was a revenge plot
true.
and a daytime Lifetime movie, that would be a good one. I'm just
put a bounty on him in
bounty?
his neighborhood.
Dude.
Put a bounty out in his neighborhood. Put all his neighbors against him.
I mean, apparently a lot of people don't like him in that country anyway. You know, I mean, if you think about it, it's really the European press that has done those stories to the point that a woman in Parliament, Ruth Coppinger, who's already high profile over there for going after sports rapists, is now talking about it in public. So who else is talking about it in public? Dublin ain't that big. Ireland ain't that big. You know?
Small spot.
They fill up a 20,000 person arena pretty good, but that's about it. I mean, it's not a huge place.
Man, yeah. So it's the outside people cashing in on the shit he's stirring up and burying the crimes. That's insane. Like, what's there any more update on the most recent sexual assault and the CCTV footage?
Again, that same day that he announced the fight, John, is when they forensically examined the car. And remember, that was the story that didn't come up in my feed, where I had looked at it from the 29th. So the same day, they said the clothes and the car that were worn and used in the assault were forensically examined by the police. And it also stated that he had still not been arrested for that crime yet. And let's not forget, the first crime that happened December 10th, he didn't actually get arrested until January 17th or 18th. So 7 weeks later. However, that didn't stop him from walking into the police station the next morning with his barrister, a.k.a. his lawyer, and saying that he had consensual sex with that woman, for them to send him on his way. And what are you talking about? Because, John, I don't know about you, but when I score with a nice little lady, I make sure the next morning to call up my lawyer and arrange a meeting at the local police station to let them know I had consensual sex with her.
That's regular these days this day and age. You've got to be safe.
You know what that reminds me of? You remember South Park from a few seasons ago? When they first introduced PC Principal, right? Remember that? Mm-hmm. And he was going throughout his frat house and getting signature waivers from the night before from the partners of all of his buddies that they had banged.
That's funny. That's a Dave Chappelle joke. Writing a contract before you do anything. That's where we are right now.
Well, Chappelle had money to lose. I don't know that I do. And I know a lot of people wanted to say that Conor had money to lose, but they didn't know the details of this case. So, before we get to the big rematch, the big kahuna, and by the way, guys, please thumbs this video up and share it with others. Let's talk about
give it a share.
Yeah, the upcoming awesome. I think this is actually a really good fight night card. Sucks you got to have ESPN Plus in the States to have it, since ESPN Plus is garbage. You heard me, ESPN. Fuck you and Disney covering up a rapist. Bullshit. Overeem, originally supposed to fight Walt Harris. Obviously, the tragedy went down with Walt and his family. Just awful. But this guy, Rosenstruck, knocking people out. Looks dangerous. What's that?
He's a monster. He's very dangerous looking.
Huge. Here's the thing, though.
Big guy, big power.
Overeem's been trading wins and losses the last 7 years of his career.
Yeah, he's been one up, one down for a while.
For a long time. He reminds me kind of Arlovsky. Except for Arlovsky maybe can string 3 or 4 together. Overeem usually strings 2 or 3 together, and then it's over. And, I don't think this is a good fight for him. I think he's going to sleep. I'd love to be wrong. I'm going to miss Overeem when he's gone. He's almost the Hulk Hogan of MMA and kickboxing. He's been around that long.
Been around a long time, yeah.
I can't think of another big dude that's been around as long as him. Can you?
No, especially big guys. There's not too many guys. He was fighting. I remember him in K1 before I really started fighting.
And he did fight way back in the day at 205 in the UFC. Yeah. But
he fought Chuck Liddell in Pride at 205.
Yeah, he did. Yes, he did. Oh, those are great fights to watch, man. Talk about old school brawls. If you're looking for something that maybe is lacking in a little ground technique, it's that one. The other fight I like in this is Struve Rothwell. I got guys from that generation of heavyweight. Rothwell's getting on in years. He didn't look good in his last couple fights. He had all that time off.
Struve's had I don't know, man. He's had some bad knockouts.
Struve has had some bad knockouts, but he won his last fight. I remember saying, you know what? He's young. It's tough. Some people do get their lights turned off, 5-6 times in their career before they hit their stride. It's not impossible. It has happened. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look at Rampage. Rampage in that brutal knockout against Vanderlei. He doesn't hit his peak in the UFC, for another 5-6 years? So, I mean, it can happen. I feel you. I like it. Cody Stamann. He's actually an up-and-comer I really like. Song Yang Dong. I think I've seen him fight twice in the UFC. He looks pretty dangerous coming up. I like this fight. I think Stamann was probably looking for somebody in the top 5 to go forward. I bet you I don't know what the odds are on it. I would guess pick 'em. Are they on here? What do we got? Odds, Stamann. Oh, they do have them on here these days, right? Or is that it? So there is no odds? What is
Too far out. Usually it's the
yeah, it's the plus minus. They don't have it.
Sports books usually do the odds.
It just said odds. But I'm actually excited about this fight as well. Should be a really good one. Any fights stick out to you there in this one, John?
Not really.
No. I guess when you're putting on 50 plus cards, but hey, I again, 2 big heavyweight fights.
Rothwell, yeah, that's gonna be fun to watch. I don't know who the girls, so
no, I'm not too familiar with the ladies here. I've seen Aspen Ladd fight. She's really, really rough and wears it. But she's tough, man. She finds a way to win. She's exciting to watch. This weekend, this should be exciting to watch on DAZN.
This is gonna be fun.
I agree. Especially there was some hype today, John. Ruiz said he was basically going to end his career. And I got to tell you, man, I see Anthony Joshua walking around smiling and not taking this as seriously as he should. I don't think Ruiz is losing this fight, dude. When I watched that first fight, I saw a hungry animal. I've seen a lot of distortion on DAZN with their feature from Stallone. They put out this one night feature, and I watched. It was like 40 minutes. I like the documentaries. And the way they were showing how should I put it? The way they were showing the footage from like the beginning rounds, they were trying to make it look like, Joshua was getting the best of him. And I wasn't seeing that. In those first few rounds,
like Joshua was, just he looked lethargic and slow through most of the fight. Like he didn't look great in the beginning. I just figured he was waiting for that one big punch, and then
he gets it.
Like he did not look the way he looked when he fought Klitschko.
No,
completely different fighters.
I agree. He looked too relaxed. And then when he was in there, he looked way stiff, like you said. He does catch Ruiz with that one punch and puts him down. But in my opinion, he was losing every part of the fight before that. And then once Ruiz got back up and actually started taking it to him and started to trade, that was the beginning of the end. It could have ended right there in that round. It gets taken, I think, to the 7th before he finally knocks him out. And it's pretty clear, even with all the referee's assistance and trying to get him to walk towards him, he takes the mouthpiece out. It's over. And even after the fight, man, hugging him and, congratulating him, you would think, that's fine, but you would want an edge. Like, man, I'm pissed I lost that belt, especially being his first professional loss ever.
Yeah. He's just, kind of just laughing it off too much. Like he wasn't really there. Like, I don't know, man. His head definitely didn't seem like he was in that fight.
No.
So I don't know if he's taking himself more serious this time or if he's just still pretending that, whatever, it just kind of happened. I don't know.
Everybody forgets, man. That was the first time he'd ever been knocked down, Ruiz, in a fight. His only other loss was a split decision loss, and we all know how the judges can be in boxing and MMA. It's a crapshoot. Doesn't mean he actually lost that fight, and I think this kid is hungry. I think he runs through Joshua, dude. I think it's 4 rounds tops. I think that things heat up in the second and third. I think the 4th round is it. I could be off. Man, I hope it goes 12 and it's just like a back and forth devastating battle, and I'm proven completely wrong. but I think Ruiz gets through him.
I think he's too fast. I think
I'm-
he made Joshua look like he was stuck in molasses that last fight.
I agree.
So if like with these big guys, if he can move as quick and throw the numbers of punches that he was throwing like we did last time, like he's gonna win this fight.
I agree. And what do you think about a Ruiz-Deontay Wilder fight? You know, now a few weeks ago we had Deontay Wilder knock out Ortiz. I had Ortiz pretty much winning every round in that fight. He didn't look as dominant, but he was putting together 2 and 3 punch combinations, putting Deontay back. Even the announcers, a few of them were like, hey, he might have taken too many rounds off in the first fight. Ortiz put him on the ground first before he really came in. I think it was the 9th or 10th round that Deontay wins that first fight. 7th in this one. I think it's an interesting fight, man. I think that Ruiz has a big pumpkin head. He's bigger than people realize. He's 6'3". He outweighs Deontay Wilder probably by a good 30 to 50 pounds. You know, Deontay's a small heavyweight in a sense, 220, 225. You know, Ruiz easily 240. So who you got?
Man, it's a tough one because it's such a stylistic matchup. It's you know this even though Ruiz is a big guy, he's still smaller than the long man. He's gonna have to move a lot, not get hit with that big power, and I'd like to see him get in on that body a lot.
I love that fight too. And by the way, Flick Off, thank you so much for that super chat sticker with a dancing hippo that says victory. We appreciate that. You know, I'd say this. Joshua is a similar length, probably a little bulkier, a lot slower in my opinion than Deontay Wilder. Technically a better boxer, has a better jab to put you back, and Ruiz overcame that and came in, but he did get clipped and go down. I think Deontay Wilder is way more powerful than Anthony Joshua. He's about the scariest puncher I have seen since Tyson. I don't know if I've seen a scarier heavyweight puncher. Every time I watch that ESPN video from ESPN Mexico where he punches through that mascot and breaks that guy's jaw, I just think to what a nightmare. Have you ever seen that?
No.
You've never seen that?
Who punched through a mascot?
Are you kidding,
Tyson?
John? Get
Tyson
ready
punched
for
through
a treat. Oh, we're doing it live.
When did this happen?
This was on the run-up, I think, to the Ortiz fight. Deontay Wilder.
Oh, Deontay Wilder did this.
Oh, yeah.
No, I didn't know.
Oh, you've never
He
seen
punched-
this?
He punched a mascot.
Wait till you see he was told to. And later on, he tried to say that he didn't realize a real human being was in here, John.
Puedes pegar aquí
He
en la
was told to hit
pancita.
it?
Aquí en la
Watch.
pancita o aquí arriba. 1.
Muy bien.
Uno,
Vamos a la pausa después de ver este gran golpe.
4,
Taquero,
5.
Are you kidding me?
Acaba de destrozar al taquero.
Like, no, we didn't mean like really hit him.
Oh, no, dude. He floors him. For Eddie, I'm going to take the sound off. I'll just put it in the background. He actually does make a sound while he doesn't watch.
Aquí en la pancita o aquí arriba. 1.
Here is John
He
breaking.
screamed. Ah!
Vamos a la pausa después de ver este gran
Killed the
golpe.
guy. Oh, the other guy's like, oh, we've made a terrible mistake.
Oh, my God.
Acaba de destrozar al taquero.
Oh, we've made a terrible mistake.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh so hard, but boy,
I
that's
didn't know that existed.
Oh, wow. I've
That's
probably
pretty
watched
great.
that 500 times.
He just knocked out a, what was it?
I don't even know.
I think it's Jake. What is that? The horchata? Is that a horchata?
Let's
He knocked
take a
out
look.
the horchata.
You know what? Let's get it from a pause angle because I'm not sure exactly what it is. It has
It's like
a logo on it.
yeah, horchata with a mustache and a hat. I don't know what that.
It's the ESPN mascot. It looks like
Or is it a? Maybe it's a pill. It's
it says
Oxycontin pill.
Nacio and ESPN.
Oh my god!
Oh, it's good stuff. Oh, thumbs up for that one, guys. Yeah, that's right.
great.
That's how we do it
That
here.
is great.
And you know what? Since we're having fun, I guess this is a good time to transition into the 90s, John. Into the 90s. Now, it has just been
Greatest
announced.
time to be alive.
Oh, what a time.
We peaked. We peaked in the 90s.
I'm not going to say we peaked because that's what they said in The Matrix, and I think it's a bit overrated with the sequels, but we'll get to that in a moment. Another great film trilogy that stems out of there. 94 is back. Alanis Morissette is going to be touring. I think it's with Liz Phair. And who is it, man? There was somebody else. There was a big 90s act. What is it? I'm going to just hit it. Who is it? Liz Phair and Garbage. Yes, that's right. Garbage. Another
nice.
Yes. Butch Vig, famed producer of Nirvana, their bass player. So, when I saw this, I thought to myself, God damn, I'm old. It's been 25 years since this album was everywhere. You couldn't go anywhere without hearing this thing. I think it stemmed 5 different singles.
Jagged Little Pill.
Yes. But this was, 94 was the first year that I ever went to concerts, John. My first concert was actually Insomniac. It was Green Day, and I fell in love immediately. It was one of my favorite things to do. I went to a ton that year, and lo and behold, I actually did get to go see Alanis Morissette. Someone dropped out. And I shit you not. Now, I used to go to metal shows, big Korn fan back in the day, went to the first Family Values show. By that time, not been to a lot of mosh pits, but been to enough. And this was so
we've
packed.
moshed at everything in the 90s.
Exactly. And this was
everything.
She was the biggest act
Didn't matter.
arguably in the world, okay? So at this point, she's arguably the biggest act in the world. I think we saw her in Albany. Pretty sure that's where we went. And I shit you not, my buddy, he was a little smaller than me. Not that we were big, 15 years old. I was probably a $135 soaking wet. But he got elbowed in the nose, and it was bleeding everywhere, and the medics had and this was before Alanis Morissette even started. It was like the underband, which was even more embarrassing for him. And he almost fractured his nose. He almost broke his nose at an Alanis concert. And it just, as I said, it just is a great metaphor on how much tougher we were 25 years ago. How much less soft society was, how we were just starting to get in touch with our emotions. I mean, that was those were the years, John, where the breakdown was it was okay to share emotions.
I feel like there was, more representation, diversity, whatever. That stuff was already like happening in the 90s. Like, I was watching Loaded Weapon the other day. You remember that? Loaded
you're
Weapon,
talking about the Emilio Estevez
Emilio
spoof?
Estevez, and freaking genius. like the stuff they had in those movies, and there was plenty of black leads, Mexican leads. Like, I don't know where this mythological history came from.
It is mythological.
If you go back and just watch like some of the best movies from like the 80s and 90s, like, I don't understand how somebody could make that mistake.
Schwarzenegger is from Austria. You look at Stallone, he's like an Italian guy that's 5'2", not very accepted in the 70s when he came up. Wesley Snipes was one of the biggest action stars in the 90s. The Blade series is arguably the best comic book series of that era, maybe even surpassing the Batman series. Because it kind of ran off at that point after the first 2 Michael Keaton movies.
So there was a black Catwoman, wasn't there?
Yeah, but it was terrible. Remember they had Michelle Pfeiffer was the only Catwoman for anybody. It was they had Halle Berry do it. But that was in the 2000s, trying to sell video games. That was when they were failing at every single. It
was post peak.
Yeah, post peak for sure. But in the 90s, I'll agree with you, man. It wasn't. No one was worried about the color of your skin. That was the big crossover, I'd say, late 90s, early 2000s especially, when hip-hop and metal were the biggest things out there. Shit on Limp Bizkit all you guys want, but, Rage Against the Machine, who was popular before then, and that's that 90s again, you're talking about 94.
Yeah, rock.
Your biggest rock star was like, I think he's half black, half Indian, I mean, Zach De La Rocha, I'm pretty sure, So this idea that
Lenny Kravitz was huge.
What's that?
Lenny Kravitz was huge.
And I'm not just trying to point out every single artist. I mean, Wu-Tang Clan, even before then, you had, you want to talk about NWA, sure, but 2 Live Crew. You go back to early 90s, breaking through. Luke Campbell. So, the idea that this acceptance wasn't there, I think, is totally ridiculous. The difference was people were less emotional about being politically correct and using specific words. And guys like Bill Maher actually got shows called Politically Incorrect because people that started doing it were really
People,
looked
people
down
are
upon.
making fun of it. Like, do you remember that movie? That movie PCU,
Yes.
Justin Piven,
And
like,
Jeremy Piven. But yes,
Jeremy Piven,
a
I'm
young
sorry,
Jeremy
yeah.
Piven. Brendan
Young
Fraser's in
Jeremy
that
Piven.
one too.
like wild, just wild. Like the jokes they're making about where we're headed, and it happened. Like things got worse. They were supposed to not be like that. What happened? What's going on?
Well, you know what? I think a lot of it is one, it's a testament to how dumbed down the general populace is. And two, people realize things are wrong, but they direct them in a fashion to things that really aren't wrong so that they have an excuse to take out speech, right? Because if you can't say certain words, then you can't have certain ideas. You know, I just watched a 60 Minutes piece that they put out, and they're talking about odious views of YouTubers. And they started off with Lauren Southern. And, you know, I'm not the biggest Lauren Southern fan in the world. I met her once, and I talked to her in private, wasn't on camera. Actually, the same day I met Jack Posobiec, and we got into a screaming match with one another while he tried to bullhorn me down. But, like, just because I don't agree with everything Lauren Southern says doesn't mean what she has to say is odious. You know, I think that's ridiculous. And to put her in with, like, white power and all this other bullshit is just disingenuous. And, I mean, what are they going to say about me? You know, I worked for Alex Jones. I'm not allowed to have a voice anymore. I talk about things about 9/11 you're not allowed to talk about, like Joe Biden meeting with one of the fucking financiers of 9/11 in the week after the attack, and no one's talking about it. A senile old man sucking on his wife's finger in public that can barely talk. Have you heard his cringe-worthy?
He's been making some major gaffes.
You see the leg thing?
Week or so.
Have you heard the leg one yet?
No, I saw some things pop up on my. I've been kind of avoiding some of the nonsensical, political stuff, just because I'm tired of the screeching.
Well, let me tell you something. 7.6 million people can't be wrong about this one, John. We're gonna play this one. This proves, first of all, beyond a reasonable doubt, guys. This man,
He's a little senile. Is he losing it?
he has no business running for office. He has no business running a business. He has no business but anywhere at home in a chair where he can't be seen or heard by people because he's done. He's done so. He wouldn't last a second against Trump in a debate. Okay? Let's just hear what Uncle Joe has to say here.
And by the way, I sit on the stand, and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap. And
I mean,
Whose grandpa is this?
this is who
come
they're
get your
trying to,
grandpa.
John. They say this is the front
Take
runner,
away
man.
the keys. Take away the keys. Make him some porridge or something.
Him and Grandma fucking Oatmeal are supposedly the front runners. Him and, by golly, Elizabeth Warren, Grandma fucking Oatmeal. No one's voting for these people. And now they're trying to push Cory Booker and Kamala Harris above 10%. No one's polling those people above 10%. It's just like they tried to poll Pete Bootlicker above 20+% as a front runner in Iowa. Bullshit. They're made up numbers. And every time they marginalize Tulsi Gabbard. And really, I believe, John, the reason that they're trying to keep these people in as long as possible is not because they think they can win. They can't. I don't think there's a possibility they think any of these people can win. But they're biding time, hoping that they only can give 5 to 10 minutes to Tulsi every single debate, so they continue to marginalize her in the media, saying, "Oh, no one really wants her. She's not polling well." Instead,
They're gonna Ron Paul her.
yeah. So you can't get 4
Ron
people
Paul.
up there. You had 4 people up there. All of a sudden, she gets 25, 30 minutes in a debate. Then she's dangerous. then you're really having some moments. So they'll keep these people in there, these ringers, if you will, as long as possible to gang up on her and talk.
They would rather Trump reelected than Tulsi or even Bernie, I would think.
I don't think they're going to give it to Byrne. They
No, I
pretty
don't
much
think-
iced
no,
him
I
out of
don't-
the polls too. And listen,
Yeah.
Bernie's got
They
big
would
problems.
they would rather Trump win than you go to Tulsi or Bernie.
I agree,
That's
100%. 100%. And I think that their motivation to put Bloomberg in there, who was not electable either. You see that Trump banned Bloomberg News and all of his agencies from his events. I think that's kind of funny. Like, listen, I get it. That's a conflict because it's freedom of the press. But when it's freedom of the press owned by your political opponent that has outwardly wanted to impeach you and talks about impeaching you based on Johnny nonsense on Ukraine Gate or Russia Gate, I think you got a leg to stand on. I don't know. It's tough. This media has lied a lot about Trump, period. And, it's a complicated world, John. It's not black and white.
It's all in the nuance.
It's all in the nuance. And speaking of nuances, how was your holiday? How was your Thanksgiving week?
It was good.
Yeah.
Still adjusting to single life and Thanksgiving, but it was good. Had a good little break. Got some good food.
You have the
And,
kids for Thanksgiving, or the wife or ex-wife
I
have kids?
had them half the time. I had them in the morning, and then we went to golf land, played some games, hung out, got some food, and then she got picked up and took them for the weekend.
See that, because Wednesday's kind of the night you want to go out. You want to go out the night before Thanksgiving. I did a little bit of that. Couldn't deal with the local band. Went to another one of the dive bars. But I don't know, man. I enjoy that sort of thing. I like getting out there. I think you have to be social, but I also like being with family. Like I had the kids go. They're stuck down in Virginia right now because I got a blizzard outside. I got 12 to 18. I think about 14 or 15 by now. I did like a crazy walk and talk in the blizzard. But snowing like mad. But we went out to dinner the day before. It's nice to have like 3 days to yourself. I mean, you got to like that a little bit, like a few days to yourself.
It's when I can get like creative work done, working on books and other stuff. So like, I can't really do anything when the kids are around. I can't concentrate for 15 minutes and write. So that has to be I have to wait until they're gone away.
I agree. It's tougher. And when I have them like for a full day in the summertime, I kind of have to get up a little bit earlier, make sure to have my day planned and how I'm going to I guess maneuver through, I'm hungry or I want a snack or can I watch this or will you help me?
Yeah, and I'd rather give them full attention when I have them anyways. So
that's also true.
Yeah.
The more you can. You said your book. Why don't you tell people about not only your first book, but how the second book is coming along?
Yeah, well, I have the Failing Upward Death by Ego is available on Amazon. I actually have lowered the price, $9.99 for the paperback, $6.99 for the Kindle. I have another book in the works because it's a series, because it's my journals that I've been keeping since I started fighting, and I'm transcribing my second journal now. So book 2 is on the way. It'll take a little while to get that process, though.
Now, are you you got a title in mind other than Failing Upwards, or?
Oh, it's just going to be book 2, and it's depending on how long it is. It might be 2 parts because it's a lot of writing.
Yeah.
Because it's like right when I started getting into the UFC, so I started putting more entries and longer entries in. So like there's a lot more journal to share.
And plus, I'm sure, that aspect of it, the glitz and glamour, rising to the top, being invited to events, being invited into circles maybe you weren't before. All right, so let's get a little sampler here, Mr. Fitch. What is your first big moment outside of signing a fight or winning an event that the UFC provided to you, like your first holy shit moment? Not just like a gift or something that they gave you, but like all of a sudden an opportunity or a place was afforded to you and you met somebody or did something that you couldn't imagine in your wildest dreams.
No, I think the biggest like I've done it or I've done something type of moment was probably with the first 3-fight deal I signed with UFC.
So signing that contract?
Yeah, so I think because the first it was I fought 2 times and it was just a one and done, and I think I was brought in to lose because the other guys were people that were trying to sell or were more popular or whatever, and after I won those 2 fights, then I got signed a more extensive contract, so a 3-fight deal. So I feel like that was probably one of the first times where I felt like I'd made it. Because it was going to be that third fight, and I had signed a contract, and it was going to be on a pay-per-view.
Oh.
Because then it was like I had 2 fight night fights that nobody ever saw, and then now I was fighting on the pay-per-view.
What were the fight cards of your first 2 fights? I'm interested. What were the main events?
It was fight night. Oh man, I can't remember. One of the ones was Lieben and Silva.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
And everybody, out there in the American audience at least, hadn't been introduced to Anderson Silva. Chris Lieben had kind of been on a tear. He'd already been introduced as the bad boy via what was popular at the time, still cable flourishing via the Ultimate Fighter. And then you had just Anderson Silva literally walk through him.
Smash, just walking backwards and just lit him up. Yeah, it didn't look it at all. And then, the other what was that? I think it might have been like Koscheck might have been the headliner. Like
Who was Koscheck fighting back then?
I can't remember. It was the one where he won the whole fight up until the end. He took a shot into a knee. Can't remember who that guy was. But I can't remember if that was it or I can't remember who was the main event that night.
So then
it was when I fought Brock Larson.
Brock Larson?
Larson. Brock
Tough
Larson
motherfucker, by the way.
Yeah. And that was at 185. So I was like, I had to take that fight just to get in, show him that I could fight and show good favor to him by taking a short notice fight at a higher weight class.
Uh-huh.
Just the stuff you had to do back then to get in.
And so the part of your 3-fight contract, what's the first pay-per-view you're on?
It was maybe 64.
Mm-hmm.
I wanna say.
Is that a Liddell Ortiz card?
I don't think so. It might have been like Franklin and Anderson.
Yeah, that's true. That would make sense.
That might have
because
been. I fought Hironaka. I fought a Japanese guy.
You know what? That makes sense because again, from Lieben, I think he did get that immediate title shot against Franklin. I don't think there was another fight in between. That would completely make sense. And Rich Franklin was a tough guy, but I mean, I think that era of Anderson Silva, anyone in that weight class, is just kind of like, good luck. It took a guy to grind up like Chris Weidman, and it's kind of unfortunate what's happened to him in his career where when the chip goes...
There weren't good, there weren't very good wrestlers, I don't think, and grapplers at that weight. It's not in the UFC.
Well, a lot of them didn't fight him either. I mean, if you think about it, Nate Marquardt fought Chael Sonnen, and they thought Sonnen was going to lose to Marquardt. That's the only reason Sonnen got that title fight. He had strung some wins together. They put him in there to lose against Marquardt, who they were selling, and then he literally destroyed Marquardt and then almost shocked the world. And if you look at it, the guys that he did fight on the ground, who was it? Travis Lutter came in, I think, overweight, so it wasn't even like officially for the title. He looked sloppy, didn't look in shape. Talis Latis at the time didn't have a ton of ground game, but he couldn't hang with him in the hands. And he did fight Maia. And the Maia fight just ended almost being a standstill, and I guess Silva winning by points. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
he did fight Henderson too, bro.
Back then, Maia's his ability to close the distance wasn't always that great.
Yeah, and he did fight. He fought Dan Henderson, and Henderson was coming in as the Strikeforce champ at the time. I think it was the same time they were bringing in Shields as the Strikeforce guy at 170. So.
But Dan doesn't really come to wrestle. He just throws that right hand.
You're not wrong.
He just throws that H-bomb until it's over.
Man, I love Dan. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah, Henderson's always fun to watch.
So, John, since we started the show with the McGregor thing and Cowboy, and once again, guys, I really don't think the fight's going to happen. Again, the guy's got 19 prior convictions in Dublin. It's supposed to be in T-Mobile. There's been no official announcements. They're shying away. It seems to be the same day that they announced that the second sexual assault's car and clothing had been forensically examined. And that also seems to be brushed under the rug. I know I'm a conspiracy guy, but let's say the fight does somehow happen. And I'm hoping you, Burmese Brigade, does not allow it with your tweets and getting into events. Hey, man, somebody's got to finally put McGregor on the spot in English. It happened in Russia. The one journalist tried to bring up his sexual assaults, and they put him to the side and were able to not report on that in the mainstream media, by the way. Notice they brushed that under the rug. All right? That would be huge news if a reporter got thrown out for asking him about the sexual assaults in English. Just saying, if you've got an in out there. But let's say it happens. I think it's actually, well, here's the thing. I think they're banking on that he can knock Cowboy out because Cowboy likes to trade. Even if you went back 5-7 years, remember his Gallard fight? I mean, Gallard's a smaller dude, got a lot of power in his hands, but I'd say Conor probably has Gallard power, right? And probably better, more sound striking. He almost knocked Cowboy out. You know, Gaethje did knock him out. I don't think Conor's got Gaethje hands, by the way. But I think that, Cowboy could get knocked out by him. They're banking on that. At the same time, Conor hasn't fought in how long? Cowboy's, still pretty world class, even though he's aging. What are your takes on the fight if it happens?
I mean, yeah, it depends on how Cowboy approaches the fight. I think he stands an advantage because I don't see him getting upset and getting manipulated by Conor teasing him, coming after him, running in, trying to throw big bombs just because Conor made fun of him or something, which seems to be one of the top ways Conor handles guys. He gets under the skin, they come at him all hot-headed, make mistakes, and he's able to use his timing to put him away and make him suffer. But yeah, if a Cowboy can use his leg kicks and keep the movement down, that might help him. But if he comes in and kind of just boxes and chases Conor around, it's probably not going to end well for him.
He's got way better jiu-jitsu than Conor. A takedown would be advised after a couple leg kicks.
That's true, yeah. Or put him in against the fence, soften him up a little bit. Like you saw how helpless he was against Khabib. Like, why not try to repeat a little bit of that?
I just feel like this is the conversation they've already had with Cowboy. Listen, Cowboy, you're getting pay-per-view points, but there's not going to be not going to be any win bonus. You know what I'm saying here, buddy? And who knows? Maybe we give you 2 points on the pay-per-view, but maybe it goes 4 rounds and it's exciting. We give you 5 points. Maybe so they don't give them an incentive to win. Where they love to give you that split paycheck, they won't do it with this one in Cowboy. They won't have a fight and a win bonus. I almost guarantee it. And there'll be some kind of backdoor bullshit conversation to try to keep it on its feet and give as much fucking leverage to their billionaire rapist boy.
They've already, that's the thing. They've already leveraged their position. They've already got him to want to, stand and trade. They've already got him mentally looking for awards. And, he tweeted out all the stats and records he's going to break. Right? So he's looking for another KO. He's looking for another finish. He's looking for a leg kick or a head kick KO. Like, it's not hard to see what he's probably going to try to be doing.
I just hope it doesn't happen. You guys got to make it not happen. I mean, I don't know what this press tour is going to be like or who's going to announce it, but I'll tell you right now, I'm fighting fucking tooth and nail on this one. I never want to see this guy fight again. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I will do everything in my little man power to do so. But here's the secret, guys. This is what they don't tell you. Everybody's got a lot more power than they actually think. And if you fucking kick, scream, and work hard enough, crazy shit can happen. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, guys, that I'm not giving up. In this 90s themed one, I got a question for you, John, while we're wrapping it up in this last hour. Top 5 bands of the 90s you were listening to. You like to do the ukulele intro. I have noticed you're big on the It's So Nice from Sublime. I enjoy that song. I might have listened to it a couple times today, actually. Who are the top 5 you got?
Well, yeah, that's a Sublime in the mid to late 90s. Yeah, it was a big one. Nirvana, of course. Pearl Jam, I think, was a big one. Man, early 90s was Guns N' Roses.
That's true. But even late 80s. I still remember like 1987, being a kid, like 8 years old, just figuring out what rock and roll was because it was on the MTV and the tattoo sleeve. And that was like your premier hair metal band. And then they did that tribute to Queen. Remember after Freddie Mercury had died, all these big rock bands, it was either late 80s or early 90s. Even George Michael was there before he'd come out. They came out and they did all these different Queen songs with them. And I remember Axl Rose had done a song. Elton John did it. You know, they were big in the 80s. My 90s, I think you're missing a couple, John. I think you're missing a couple big ones.
The Chili Peppers, I think, was a big one too.
That's a huge one. I saw them a couple times. You know what? I actually like their Navarro album. I think that Red Hot Chili Peppers' One Hot Minute is one of their most underrated albums. You know, everybody talks about Californication. Hey, great album. But It's My Aeroplane's a fun song, and Navarro live was way, way better. I saw them with John Frusciante after, and all I'm going to say is stay off the heroin, kids. Stay off the fucking heroin.
Stay off the
Because sometimes you don't play so well live. You missed the Stone Temple Pilots. You missed Korn. You
Stone
missed
Temple Pilots.
Korn, Rage Against the Machine, Tool for guys like me.
Oh, Tool, yeah.
Tool, so
I saw
good. Weezer,
Tool
bro.
in Indianapolis, Deer Creek Festival. It's not even called that anymore. But yeah, that was pretty great.
And the
Learned to
Weezer brought
swim.
back Dork Rock. I mean, they brought it back. 9 Inch Nails, Green Day. You really
Nine
can't
Inch
list
Nails.
five.
Oh, man.
I know it, man. So many good,
Goes on forever.
awesome artists. And when you went to a concert, it wasn't a bunch of softy social justice warriors crying about everything. They love to cry. Folks, my name is Jason Burmis. You can check out all of my stuff over on this channel right here.
Oh,
What's that?
Soundgarden.
Soundgarden's another one. I mean, you want to keep going? Because we'll keep going. Because, I mean, I'm the concert kid, dude. Like, Limp Bizkit came up
Garbage. We talked about Garbage earlier.
Yeah, Limp Bizkit came up in like 98. You just talked about Garbage. We didn't even talk about things like Collective Soul on the outskirts. I was never a big Goo Goo Dolls guy, but they're making a comeback. Hootie and the Blowfish, whether you like it or not, they were a 90s phenomenon, maybe early 90s. Who else is big in that era? There's got to be a couple more.
Was that Lump? Was that a band?
Oh, you're
Lump?
talking about the presidents of the United States of America.
Oh, yeah.
Pusa. Saw them live. What a show. That was a good one. I actually had a great time at that one. And Lump was just one of the hits. I preferred Peaches. I love
Pantera.
Pantera. There you
Holy
go.
Jesus balls.
Pantera. Oh, dude, Vulgar Display of Power. I mean, so many good bands from back in the day. The 90s, guys, it was a lot better. I know we're being old men and crotchety and boomer-esque, but that's the generation before us. Again, if you want videos on things like Epstein, transhumanism, the latest Cyborg Soldier 2050 government document release, real fun stuff. Assange and more, please hit that subscribe button. And remember, subscribe to John's page, Official John Fitch, right now. Thumbs it up. Ring that bell for notifications. You can subscribe to his Patreon and much more, where you give private sessions and bonus material to your patrons. Do you not?
Yep.
And you can do that right here at johnfitch.net. Follow me on Twitter. I just started my new GoFundMe yesterday for Media Month 6. Been doing this almost 6 months on my own. No other job. Spitting truth. It's because of you guys. Thank you so much. And audio podcast. You can find us on thegruelingtruth.com. If I can find the actual webpage, it doesn't look like I can. There it is right there. Bam, that's where the audio is. John, what do you have to say for the people closing it out?
Just check out the John Fitch Knows Nothing if you get a chance. You can contact me through johnfitch.net for small groups, seminars, and a lot of other fun stuff.
Learn how to choke a man with John Fitch. Guys, I love you, and I'll